Welcome back finally to another episode of TripleKO. We're in the high 80s now, I believe, last time I looked. Unfortunately, Max could not make it today, sort of had a small family emergency, but he should be back for our next episode. But of course, we have Mr. Kyle Winquote joining us today. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like a family man?
Fantastic. I'm feeling great, and I'll be the substitute blonde for this.
Justin technically has
Oh, you're right. You're right. You know what? You're more blonde.
I'm gonna cut my hair pretty soon, so it's gonna go back to black.
I forget what episode it was where we talked about it. It's like how many blonde characters are in Street Fighter 5? It's
Too
like
many.
69% or something
It's
crazy.
a lot.
It was so many. But now I want them all back in Street Fighter 6. Like I want Maki, I want Lucia, I want Alex, I want all of them. Cody. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 is absolutely in the news this week. But before we get there, kind of out of nowhere, but I believe there was a rumor like maybe 2 weeks before it was announced saying Virtua Fighter is coming. And then when I see that, I don't know about you, when you see a rumor that Virtua Fighter is coming back, what is your first response to that?
You know, when I first saw the tweet of like Virtua Fighter's coming back, and then they had like this trailer that the guy posted with it, I was like, oh my god, it's new footage, but I didn't like think about it like, oh, this is old footage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think just the news in general is like makes me really excited just because I'm like, oh, finally, like the rumors are true, or like the praying to the gods of people just like, oh, please, Virtua Fighter 6, please come, it's finally come true. So I think anything, like if you put anything out, like a fake clip or fake anything, I would just completely believe it because I'm so like in that copium
You're
state
in that phase,
where
yeah.
I just want Virtua Fighter, anything Virtua Fighter news to just give us something. Give us like, just tell us Akira's back. Like that's all you gotta just tell us. Tell us something. I don't care. That's how I feel.
I mean, I'm kind of in the opposite. Where I think it's kind of funny that Virtua Fighter, a new Virtua Fighter is real, and it just like dropped randomly when we've had so many like lead ups, like, hey, Virtua Fighter's coming, Virtua Fighter's coming. We've had Evo, we've had E3, we've had games, like literally all of these events that were like, oh,
There's
Evo
always
Japan,
something.
Virtua Fighter's definitely gonna happen, and then it just drops on a, like, I literally just get on Twitter and I'm just like, oh, Virtua Fighter is real. I mean,
So,
cool,
Yeah.
but it was just like, oh, okay, like,
whenever I see this rumor that happens at all these shows that you're saying, or like a Sega guy like says, "Yeah, we're working on something," I go, "Bullshit. That's not true. That's not real." Because I'm at that phase, Justin. I don't believe nothing about nothing.
Nothing.
Not right. So
Still nothing.
when that rumor like a few weeks ago happened, I was like, "Bullshit." And then the trailer comes out, and I was like, bullshit. I thought it was fake because it's a brand new logo too for what's it called now? Rev? Yeah.
Mm.
Revo. Sorry, Revo.
Revo.
So when I saw the trailer, I was like, nah, that's someone just repackaging not Final Showdown, Ultimate Showdown footage. And when it said like little details about it, I'm like, is this real? I still wasn't sure. So now that it is actually official, yeah, like I'm sure Justin, you're excited. I'm sure you're excited too, Leighton. Is that I'm assuming that's true?
I mean, even if they just packaged, you know, the last VF5, the one that came out on PS4 and stuff, even if they just like put that on Steam, I think everyone would be happy. But the fact that, yeah, we're getting a new balance update and rollback, this is, especially because I feel like Tekken 8 is a bit controversial on the timeline, it seems. This is the perfect chance for another 3D fighter to come in and be like, hey, there's other options.
Very good
finally
point.
now.
Very good point. While I'm obviously happy about this, I'm still like, why does this have to be a half step? And I don't even mean I want like Virtua Fighter 6. Obviously I do, but Sega is still like probably unsure. But why is it Steam only? Why is not Revo on PS5 and maybe Steam together? And why can't it at least be on Xbox? Like, why can't it be on all these 3 platforms? It reminds me of Ultimate Showdown being on, I think PS4 exclusively. It wasn't PS5 game. It was, you could play on
Yeah,
your
it was
PS5.
you could play on PS5.
So
Yeah, I remember that.
that's the only thing that gives me pause. I'm like, why exactly? Why can't you just put all 3 versions out? That seems like manageable.
They probably have the lowest budget possible and be like, all right,
You know,
here's like $10. Do something with it.
fighting games. We
Yeah.
are fighting
games.
game fans. You know, I was just reminded today is apparently like the 13th anniversary of King of Fighters 13 coming out on consoles.
Mhm.
Oh,
And I just was reminded that King of Fighters 13 with rollback exists on
Yep.
Switch and PS4 and not PC.
The final,
no, I didn't know it had rollback.
Yeah.
the console
Oh, wow.
versions, yeah, but the Steam had a name, right? It was called like Steam Edition. And
Yeah.
that never got rollback.
And so, yeah, this new release that came out, I don't even.
Oh, that's right, 13. For some reason, I thought you said 11. My bad.
No.
Yeah, 13.
I wish. But,
We'd
yeah.
be all playing that right now.
So, yeah, and so rollback exists for this very beloved game on Switch and PS4, which is cool. A lot of people are on PS4, but, like, come on, what are we doing? Like, why?
But look, the Steam version. The problem with the Steam version, it's kind of buggy. You know, when you first buy the game, it doesn't really work properly. You got to put a little code in it to like lower the speed.
Oh yeah,
So,
I remember. hearing
Yeah,
about that.
it was driving me insane. I was like, why is my characters moving like times 5 speed the whole entire time? It just drove me insane for the longest.
There's this one game. There's this sequel to Dynamite Cop, Cop, like Asian Dynamite, when you're on like a cruise ship, and it never
Yep.
got ported. And every time I try to emulate it, it runs at like 1,000 frames per second, and all the normal tricks that you do to force something to run at the FPS it should, it just never works. And I'm like, I want to play this so bad. It's the silliest Dynamite Cop, but yeah, I do own the Switch version of this new KOF 13, but I just got it just to lab or
Yeah, to own it.
whatever. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that it was supposed to have rollback. Do you know if does anyone know if it's good?
Yeah, I
for
played
rollback?
it. Yeah, I played it. It had rollback. I think I played somebody from Mexico. It worked as intended, but the problem with it is that the stage is just a static background. It doesn't do the
Yeah, you were
moves. and
saying
Oh,
this
okay.
once
Yeah, so
before.
like if you're playing online, it's just frozen. Like it's just literally just a wallpaper.
Being fighting game fans, you got one step forward, maybe like a one step forward.
You
Maybe
were thinking about one step forward.
something else always has to go
Yeah.
wrong somewhere.
So in the kind of features list, the Ultimate Edition of this legendary game has rollback netcode, 4K visuals, updated character models, stages, and cinematics, was kind of interesting because Ultimate Showdown was already, pretty updated. Flares for the pinnacle of Virtua Fighter and battle out your favorites in the rank mode, training versus crush competition. So yeah, just like a Steam version with some updates and like a new, fancy kind of intro. The only thing really to complain about is, again, why ignore consoles altogether? But I think you guys are right. The only thing could be money. Let's just dump this on Steam, see how well it does. And
Yeah.
Ultimate Showdown was free for like a few months, right, on the PS4, and then
Yeah.
it became
It was like PS Plus, I
It
believe.
was PS Plus,
Yeah.
yeah. But then it became like you had to pay for it, right? Does anyone
It's
remember
like $20.
$20?
I think it was $20, 19.99.
So probably just enough for them to go, hey, maybe let's do something else, but not so high that, we have a whole lot of confidence. But technically, this means Harada now has to put a Virtua Fighter character into Tekken because he said as such. So Harada, you're not listening, but if you were, get on that. What Virtua Fighter would you want to see in Tekken? Too slow. The answer is Wolf Hawkfield.
I was gonna say Wolf because whenever I think of Canadian fighting game characters, I don't know why I think of Canadian fighting, but I'm always thinking because I'm always thinking of I'm always thinking of you, and it's like I never realized there's not a lot of Canadians in fighting
There's
games.
very few. There's Wolf. There's Sasquatch from Darkstalkers. There's Maxima apparently from KOF. I still think that's weird. But Wolf A has Canadian maple leaf like red makeup on his head, so that's the thing. But I just want him to fight King. But honestly, a couple characters.
You got Marduk versus King already though.
Yeah, but he's not in Tekken 8.
Oh duh, you're right.
And he was deconfirmed, right?
Yeah, that's true. So he doesn't have a rival if you think about it.
Yeah.
I would say probably like Sarah or something. Sarah
Sarah
go
would be
against,
good.
Like,
Yeah.
Nina. I think she would be popular.
I just don't think Akira's interesting enough. Like, no hate against Akira. Kage maybe? I don't know.
Kage.
That
I
would
mean,
be
Jackie.
cool.
Jackie's a classic.
Jackie would be good too. You're like a tag character where it's like Jackie and Sarah together and they swap in and out or some crazy shit.
Like Garo.
Yeah.
They got Ken and Chun in there. Two characters.
That's my thing. Is like my first initial thought was Jackie, but I'm like, man, but Jackie's kind of like boring. But it's like, well, you kind of have to do that, right? You can't just.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's the man that says, "Yeah." Everyone knows that line.
Yeah. Let's talk more action.
But
I can't do it as well right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But is more iconic from the stage transition in DOA 5 than it is from Virtua Fighter nowadays, just because it's so over the top. But yeah, like I guess some of the crazier characters is some of the newer characters. Like if you get Jean Cujo or Brad Wong or Go. Like those
Go would be awesome. Go would be awesome.
Go and Dragunov could
Go
be a thing.
Really? Yes.
There's lots of options. I mean, even Vanessa. Like, honestly, aside from maybe Lau and Shundi and Akira, it's just that
Shundi would be interesting.
But it's like Wang could possibly get
Shundi would be broken though. Anytime you add new mechanics to a Tekken game, the Tekken community loses their shit.
That's what I was about to think. Like, how would Bandai make drinks like crazy? Or something? Like he just like he drinks and just gets heat like automatically or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's just drinking straight heat. So yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. I hope whatever the pricing is for that and whatever that it's successful and we can actually get like at least Revo onto like all consoles that can run it. So moving on to that Street Fighter 6 news, the balance patch. We were originally going to record this episode the day before, and the balance patch actually came out last night. Again, if you are a Lily main, just pour one out. You got nothing once again.
Well, she got a combo.
Yep, she sure did.
She got a combo, but you know what it is? It's just, I truly believe that Lily can never be a higher tier character than wherever she is right now. That's
just no amount of improvements.
It's just too hard.
I think they would need to. I'm already not a fan of like her design.
Yeah.
Like the mechanic wise, I think it's just a little boring, but it's like, yeah, what do you do besides like it's like fixing Jamie where it's like you're messing with his fundamental design.
Yeah. It's like you remember Street Fighter 4 with Seth where he had the Dawson jump heavy punch? They would have to physically remove that move and replace it with a brand new move. That's what they would have to do with Lily. Like remove something to give her something new that makes her better. But like right now for her current toolkit, she will always stay the same no matter what.
And a patch like this is considered like a mid like sort of patch. It's not tiny, it's not giant. I'd think a season patch where it's like we're adding new mechanics is the only time where you could possibly do something, because like you're saying, it's like for her it's like a page one rewrite. Like no, we have to retool everything, and they're not going to do that for this patch. Ryu got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Ryu's a big winner.
I love his.
I like that.
His hop into Tatsu and stuff.
Yeah, so good.
Like I love giving Ryu movement and cool options.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of modern Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6 Ryu where his thing is like I just hit you extremely really hard. I like giving Ryu cool, interesting stuff. So I'm a big fan of that.
And just a little bit of sauce.
Yeah, I like the sauce with the, like you said, the hop kick, because it at least it kind of reminds them of just like in the alpha where forward medium kick was like a huge thing with Ryu, where you use that move a lot to advance forward. So he definitely hits hard, and he can use that move to really help his options. So that's I mean, they're trying to really make Ryu better than Ken.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it seems like.
Just to get on a Ryu soapbox, just real quick.
Please
I
do.
just I like I said, I don't like Ryu's design philosophy, modern design, where he's like, I'm just gonna hit you really hard. That's my Shoto.
Yeah.
I'm kind of boring. I love like how Justin mentioned in Alpha and ST, he has a lot of interesting movement options because he's always trying to like fireball trap you. That was like the design philosophy back then. So he had forward medium kick. He had his solar plexus. He had his light tatsu as like just
Yep.
they weren't just attacks, they were movement options, they were
Mhm.
ways to get across the screen, which is stuff that I feel like has been kind of missing with Ryu. So seeing that change, I was like, I don't even play Ryu, but I'm like, thank God, man.
It's almost as if as he gets older, he's not learning from any other characters, like almost story wise. So he's not incorporating anything like fancy or different into like his kid or whatever. So now he's like almost like Goken levels of like, I don't need to learn from nobody. Learn from Terry. Learn some. Yeah. Speaking of Terry, I was hoping for anything like he got some stuff, but nothing too crazy.
No, a lot of people like him now. They gave him better combos mid screen, so he hits a bit harder now, and they actually made like standing heavy punch pretty useful. So the changes didn't seem like on paper it sounded great, but in action
They're
it
better.
looked really, really, really good. Like
Okay.
his corner, the combos he could do in corner can be done mid screen now, pretty much. So they gave him a lot more damage when it comes to that. So I think that's pretty cool.
And Cammy, obviously, of us has always been a very high tier. Definitely got some nerfs,
Oh,
but are
she
they?
got smoked.
But
No,
like,
she got smoked.
but not enough that I think she's gonna drop very much, right?
I mean, okay, so there are 9 camis currently qualified for Capcom Cup.
Okay.
I think that number of 9 camis will definitely be less than 9 going into Capcom Cup.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because like her OD dive kick, on wake up, you can't really combo from back medium punch anymore, so that's huge. ODDP doesn't side switch. Everyone is like extremely upset about that.
Yeah, Cammy Discord like frothing at the mouth like against this. They're angry.
Yeah, and the crouching medium punch. I mean, that needed to be fixed for sure.
Mhm.
But like a lot of her changes were, I was like really surprised about that because like, I mean, she's overall like, it's not like she hits like a truck.
Yeah.
It's not like she hits you a truck, you die from it. She's like a speedy character. She hits you multiple times and everything, and her mobility was like her best tool set. So the fact that they kind of like, I would say, made her even weaker, which is a pretty surprising choice, I would say, compared to the other characters. I would say that's more of a problem, but I guess they looked at Capcom Cup results, the qualifying results, and were like, "Yo, Cammy's the problem, not Rashid, not Akuma." So there's that. Then Ed, oh man, sorry for Ed. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that sucks for me.
That's a rest in peace. Yeah, he's a hard character to play
like,
too.
To begin with, yeah.
Yeah, which is surprising because I'm like, I always felt like if you became a really good Ed player, like you worked hard to become a really good Ed player. But now they're like, yeah, sucks to be an Ed player now.
I always
I
appreciate
agree.
the verbiage around the patch notes and saying this was not our like design philosophy with this character. This was not intended like instead of like like this move is just nerfed or the plus frame or a minus frame. At least there's like a little bit of explanation, but it's like some of it still seems like well that makes the character like way less interesting or okay I can't fight you against your intent, but at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like obviously, getting like detailed patch notes for like most fighting games with like developer intent, like, hey, our design philosophy is we want this character to act like that. It's kind of new for fighting games.
It is.
So it's nice, but it is like, well, you're still wrong though.
Yeah.
You don't get it, but
when it feels like there's a person talking to you, kind of just want to be like, I want to talk to you and tell you that maybe this is starting off on the wrong foot for this character. It's not doing them any favors. I think the big thing is everyone asking for something to be done about throw loops, but then they actually made throw loops slightly better with the elimination of jump canceling, I believe.
Yeah, jump cancel command throws.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a option for some characters to kind of like stop throw loops, but still like it's a guess, right? It's not like it's a clear answer. but they removed that, and that was actually something that's hard to execute. But I think that's a Capcom thing to do. Any like tech that's like developed by players that can be like used in like competitive play that a lot of like I would say competitive players use, but the common player would not use.
Right.
They want to remove that situation because they want everybody to have the access to the same type of tools. Because I don't think the common player or the casual player is going to learn how to jump cancel SPD.
Okay.
But they can learn how to throw loop somebody because that's really easy to understand. So I would say that's kind of sucks. They've been doing that since Street Fighter Five. Anytime some player makes some groundbreaking discovery of a new technical thing, Capcom's like, oh, thanks for telling us. Next
That's
patch,
gone. Yeah. That seems to be the way. Any other thoughts on the patch in general from either of you?
I didn't really get to look through everything yet, but I just see the Twitter, like the main ones, the main characters. So it kind of sucks to see, like I mentioned earlier, Ed to just like lose its legs. I rather Cammy lose his legs before Ed does. And I'm just really surprised that again Rashid just escaped.
Yeah.
Escaped from the nerf hammer. Akuma also escaped from he didn't really get too many nerfs as well too. He's still really good. So, and there was also Bison. Bison just got a damage nerf. So I'm just like really surprised that all these easier characters that has way easier ways to kill you compared to Ed, they got a slap on the wrist compared to Ed, and he just got like demolished and everything. And I think it's also like they pay attention to probably what Japan rank is.
Yeah, I've heard
so
that
whatever
said.
Yeah. So whatever Japan is like, these characters are like OP. These characters are getting nerfed, right? So I think I saw that like they mentioned that Ed and Cammy were the ones just running Japan's rank match leaderboards a lot compared to the other characters, and I'm just like, damn, I don't know if that's like out of touch or like correct, but it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I definitely think Street Fighter 6 in Japan just seems like a different world almost. It just seems like apparently it's the most popular game in the ever over there. It's like a cultural phenomenon, all this stuff. But I feel like if you're a developer who's running a $1 million tour where someone is going to win $1 million, you should pay attention to the tour where someone is going to literally change their life, forever from winning. So maybe Battle Hub isn't where we should be looking, but I don't know.
On the topic of that, I'm sure you've seen the sentiment lately is that people are maybe like getting like a little just kind of bored with the moment to moment gameplay and wants like something to refresh your drive system, etc. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe, but like not now. Like if that stuff's gonna happen, it's gonna happen like in that in between like seasonal DLC. Like you might see that, but even then, it's like Street Fighter V didn't get any like really big things until the last like what 2-3 years of its life.
But that was when like another team came in.
That's true.
Essentially,
that's true. But do you feel like right now like competitive wise or just for your own like playing that like things are getting kind of stale and it needs some freshening up across the board, or you think it's fine as is, like just let them cook as it were?
I think it's pretty stale. Like pretty much the only thing that they do is like, all right, we reset legend rank, go for it, right? That's kind of really it. So I think having a patch is always really fun, just because you get to play with new tools and everything, and you pray to God your character does not get nerfed, or you pray to God that your character gets buffed. Either way, I think like you need something new, and they're trying. We don't really care about what do you call those fighting pass with the accessories. I don't avatars. I don't care about stuff like that, but I care about like if they can have more events. Like I know they added Giant Attack, the SIR and Bison. I think that's really cool. But just having a balance patch and maybe more, I guess, better timeline for DLC characters, because I don't know when we're gonna get Mai. Like is it gonna be this 2024 winter or next?
I think it's gonna be like February in my head.
Oh man, that
I know.
sucks.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
how I feel.
and then Elena's like in the spring or some shit. So like, and but even then with like characters, it's like, yeah, everyone plays the new character for a bit, but it's like, they don't usually disrupt the game too much, especially in Street Fighter 6. But
Yeah.
I think some mechanics or a new mode or something is enough. Like the Cern Bison thing, it's like, it's temporary or whatever. It's still neat, and there's like this Shin Bison that you can unlock. I think someone just found a way to unlock them in a
Oh,
different
really?
method.
Yeah, you do like
Yeah.
his taunt and like
Oh, it's like Kuma again.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Akuma,
yeah.
with Shin Akuma.
But what do
Okay.
you feel about the game, Leighton, in general, right now?
I mean, I'm not on the level of someone in Capcom Cup or Justin or anything, but as time does go on, I feel like I do kind of have a lot of issues with Street Fighter 6, like gameplay wise, but every time I try to think of a way of like, oh, like this is how I would fix it or what I would do, I can't come up with, like, Street Fighter 6 is like the one game where I feel like I'm not smart enough to make better. For me personally, if that makes sense, because it's like, well, if you change this and this sucks and then that's horrible,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't know. I really love the idea of Street Fighter 6. I think the drive gauge is, like so interesting as like a mechanic, but right now I'm just not enjoying playing or like watching it when I see, of course, someone randomly flash green and then they dump their entire bar and then they do a level 3 that you have to watch for the 100th time. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but I've been at a local where someone hits me with a level 3 and I'm pressing start, like thinking like, can I just like, can I skip this? Like, so I don't know. I'm not, not saying the game is bad or anything, but yeah, there's just, I'm glad I'm not playing it for money or anything, because I would probably I lose my mind at locals playing it for so I can't imagine with stakes, actual stakes.
Right, I getcha. Like for me, when Terry got released and then I did his old world tour mode, I love that. And then when I started playing him against friends and online, I kind of like that quite a bit. But then that was it. Like I didn't want to, go back to any other characters, and I stopped playing. Like I stopped playing the game after Terry was released. Like maybe a little less than a month. And I was like, okay, well, 'cause the other characters, I've seen what they can do, and I'm just not super interested. And I just wanted to explore Terry a little bit. And I guess because of the rest of the DLC or characters I'll like, I'll go back for that. But that's just that case. Then there's like Mortal Kombat 1, then there's like Tekken 8, where the characters that are coming out there, I'm like, I'm not really interested in playing any of them. So Street Fighter's getting by just because of the character choice. But if it wasn't, like when Ed and Aki and Rashid came out, I barely played the game at all because I didn't really care for any of those three characters. That's just me. But like, if we get another season of DLC and it's like characters I don't particularly have any interest in, the gameplay is not enough to pull me in to try them, unfortunately. Like that's kind of where I'm at. But
Yeah, there's just a lot of homogenous game plans, I feel like.
Yeah, I
Which-
mean, if you're not living in Japan, the game's not. The game has obviously stagnant when it comes to just viewership and everything regarding Street Fighter 6.
yeah. In terms of well, maybe not bad vibes, but controversial vibes. The bizarre stuff going on with DBZ sparking and tournaments and disqualifications that are really, really messy. Justin, you're shaking your head, Lane, so But Justin, you caught the wind of this stuff, right?
I mean, like they're having this like world tournament, right? Tournament of power, I guess, for this
Yeah.
thing, and I read that like both players got DQ because they were running away. So it's making the gameplay, like lame, not exciting, and not Dragon Ball ish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, but this game is not really. It's not really meant to be competitive, I guess. In my personal point of view, it's more of like a fun party game type of thing. So, of course, there's going to be characters where they're just going to run away forever and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
it's specifically like the android characters can have movement that the other characters don't, and they can abuse it. And they one so maybe Layton, do you know this the details of this a bit better? Because I'm gonna go off the top of my head, but maybe you know them a little bit more precisely.
Yeah, I just know that Android 19 and Android 20
Yeah.
are like a big issue, and it's because Android. So everything in Sparking Zero, like every mechanic costs meter, and meter is kind of like a bit hard to come by. But androids, they can't key charge, but they just gain meter automatically. Android 19 has an ability called False Courage that gives him like hyper armor for 15 seconds. And if an android grabs you, or Android 19, 20, and 13 or whatever, if they grab you, they gain meter and they gain health back. So they pop this install, and then there's like movement where you're just like flying up and flying down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like the best way to just like not engage with anything. So yeah, you pop that install, you run away, and apparently Bandai, whoever's running this tournament, someone at Bandai was like, hey, you need to like play seriously or you're gonna get disqualified. And the guy was like, I am.
And one of them or both of them were asked, can you please switch characters so you're not one of these androids? And then
I think I thought only one of them was asked.
okay,
I only saw, I could be wrong, but I saw this dude's tweet where he was like, yeah, like they forced me to switch and I lost.
yeah, that's the things. But the other player got to keep their android character because it's like, yeah, if they're both doing it, sure. But so they do it, and then the other android character that won goes on into the tournament, and then after the tournament's over, he's then disqualified from entering the next tournament. Because they're like, he's gonna no, well, he didn't even say what the reason was. They're just like, you're disqualified because you went against official rules. And he's just like, what is going on? Like, he's kind of laughing about it, but like, yeah, what is going on? The overriding thing, the sentiment being like, just stop having official tournaments with stakes for this game. It's not that type of game, like Justin said.
They actually had like TNS, sorry, Tampa Never Sleeps, ran a tournament for this, and I think they said it lasted like 9 hours because some of the players are using Android 19 and just running away, doing the whole thing, and like they just it was forever, lasted forever.
It's CVS 1 or something, I don't know.
It's like two Guiles in like Street Fighter 4 just fighting each other, and then it's not the most exciting match in the world. But then Capcom like elbows one of them and says, you gotta stop taking Guile.
You gotta jump at them. One of you gotta jump at each other.
Like they're just coaching them with like advice to make them lose or make the game look slightly more exciting. Yeah, it does show whoever's like giving these orders, either Namco Bandai or whoever's in the tournament, is like, yeah, this is a bad look. Like this looks worse than the gameplay. Doing that to like, you have to play the game in a certain way for you to be in the tournament. Like, no, that does not fly. So, really weird thing, and I kind of think that's not going to go away until someone actually makes like a statement or Enco or
yeah, I
whatever
mean,
it is.
I would want, I'm a Sparking Zero. I'm not gonna say I'm a believer, but
Enthusiast.
if people want to play the game competitively, it's like, yeah, I would like to see, I want to see some cool stuff as well. So obviously, like, I want Bandai to fix it. If this is an issue that just sucks, I want them to fix it, because like I said the last time I was on this podcast, Sparking Zero has like legit tech. There's like option selects, and like the perfect parry is like a 2-frame window or something ridiculous. There's some cool stuff here that could be interesting, but yeah, we also can't go into Sparking Zero thinking, like there was the whole like, oh, this game could be at Evo debate. It's like, all right, come on, man. Like, let's...
when you have over 100 characters, like things are gonna happen like this, though. Like there's so many variables.
A game can exist and just be like a cool, fun game, and we could play it like competitively. We could have tournaments for it, but like we shouldn't just automatically have the expectations that this is gonna be the next big thing. Play it because it's cool and fun.
And it's
So,
like the most successful Dragon Ball game in like a long time or something like that. They've
ye-
posted up some amazing numbers.
which is like why I think Bandai is like kind
Trying to
of
push it.
push it because like I mean, so I mean, this just goes on with like, there's kind of like I would say like a Dragon Ball Renaissance that they're pushing right now. The new anime has come out and stuff,
Mhm.
and like, it seems like Spark and Zero the game is getting like more like marketing and stuff than like the new anime. It's probably because it makes them so much money.
Yeah,
So
comparatively.
yeah, I'm sure this is like to a bunch of suits in Japan. This is like the horrible. And I wish Capcom saw throw loops and thought the same thing. I don't know.
So yeah, further, I guess, not so great-ish news. Well, no, I'll before we get there, uh, Max, definitely, absolutely played as Ghostface in Mortal Kombat 1. God bless him. Definitely, has more impressions, and maybe we'll get to that next time. But uh, d- at least two of you watched videos of Ghostface gameplay. For me, I'll just get my piece out. It's really cool that the other two ghost faces are based on Kira and Cobra. That's fucking awesome. And that's it. That's all like I have no opinions one way or another because just knifey stab guy is like I was bored of looking at in Rambo gameplay. But like and any character really that just like I have a knife and like Kira's thing is that she uses knives, so I get why she was put in there, but it's like I can only look at so much of that gameplay where I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. But what are your guys' impressions of what you've seen of Mr. Face?
I like knifey stabby guy.
Okay.
Yeah, just because like the way he attacks, and the way he combos and the way he kind of mixes you up, it's very I would say Mortal Kombat 10 character ish in terms of like high lows. So I was already a big fan of it, and I just think Ghostface is a really cool character. Maybe he might not be as strong if you think about lore wise compared to Mortal Kombat 1 characters, but he does fit the gameplay really well, especially with just the use of assist as well too. And what I also found funny is that I love when NRS they don't really test some things.
Yeah.
So you know how his like when he does his what do you call it? The fatal, not fatal blow. What's the super thing called again?
Fatal
X-ray.
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 Yeah.
There you go. So when he does X-ray, he brings in the other ghost face, right? So if you because there's like armor and it's not considered invincibility. If you kill Ghostface while he's doing that, like literally the other Ghostface comes out, but then he starts running away like a cartoon character.
Yeah. I saw that.
So I saw that and I just couldn't stop laughing, and I watched it at least like 20 more times because I'm just like, this looks so bad, but it's just so funny at the same time, and it's very just NRS the whole entire time too.
What about you, Mr. Winquote?
A licensed Mortal Kombat guest character has not hit for me since Mortal Kombat 10. Like
Yeah,
I
me
won't
too,
lie.
me too.
Like I liked, Alien, Predator, and Leatherface, and like ever since then, yeah, like you said, it just even ignoring like the power level, stuff. It's like I mean, Scream's a cool movie, but yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. I'll just say that.
We had said on the last episode that maybe part of the reason why they even went with Ghostface is because the new Scream movie was supposed to be released around this time or like, in a month or two, something like that. But then that movie kind of fell apart and then they kind of all got canceled. So they're rebooting the whole fucking thing, doing some other storyline. So maybe that's the reason why they even picked him. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's another horror character that they want to get in there. But it's like, I'm fine with Ghostface, but again, it's just like, a guy with a knife, right? Or like several people with a knife. And it's like, can we not get Candyman or Hellraiser? Like you could look at any.
You want some powers?
I want some powers, man. Like something crazy. Like and even Omni-Man and Homelander, it's like, yeah, they're, they definitely have differences, but they're still pretty similar. So like just to have someone that used something crazy would be cool. It's like you look at Dead by Daylight and they get like a new horror character like literally every month, and they have them all. Like they have Xenomorph. Like the only person they don't have is Jason. So I guess NRS has them up on that. But it's like, yeah, I'm just, the fatalities are cool. He turns into a vulture for his animality, and I'm just like, that's not doing it for me. And the next DLC character's still not doing it for me. Like Conan, cool. He's got a sword.
Listen,
Yeah.
Max doesn't love him, okay?
Yeah, I know he does. I know. I remember that one Halloween, Max dressed up as Conan. I remember that. And the other guy, the T1000, like that's really still goes over my head why we're picking the T1000 in this day and age.
Okay, but what if he does? What if his dash acts like Glaciers from Killer Instinct, where he like comes up from the ground and comes up?
That
Just-
would be cool because of gameplay, just because it would be
Yeah,
cool.
come on.
But also, like you said, you love when NRS doesn't test things. So who
Yeah.
knows what could happen if a character turned into a
That would be
puddle.
cool, right? Puddle and then come up from the
But-
ground like his Glacier DP.
I love where your head's at. That's wrong. They're just going to look at when the T1000 would run in Terminator 2. He would run like this, like he's putting his
Yeah.
hands up. And that's how
Yeah.
NRS animates the characters running. Like it's just going to look like Ghostface, what you just described when he's running away. So, and again, I know that they have, there's, you have to consider the license holder, and there's probably a very strict timeline for getting all these characters in. And I've seen people like over the last couple of weeks been like, oh, why the fuck isn't the Scary Movie What's Up face for him not in it? I'm like, dude, the license holder is not going to approve the parody movie version of his mask. I'm sorry.
That would be good. That would be godlike.
I
It would have
didn't even
been
think about
godlike.
that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have been godlike. There's no way they're getting through with that. With that said, it's so cool the amount of accessories that with a character whose design is very simple, like, and getting it approved by a license holder, they're able to do a lot with the masks and prints on his robe and everything. So at least that stuff's cool. But it's like, yeah, this is rough.
I will say that, I mean, if there's one thing that Mortal Kombat 1 is knocked out of the park, I still love, like, the pre-fight dialogues,
Oh, it's all so good.
And
so.
like, so yeah, and so Ghostface is, obviously his whole thing is like fourth wall breaking. So, and characters are already breaking the fourth wall. So like, parent, his with like Johnny and stuff is like, yeah, it's awesome. Like I love watching that 10-minute video, then not thinking about it again.
Yeah, whenever there's a new character, I'll at least look at all the interaction stuff, like
Yeah.
just to see, because there's always at least a couple that are just actually really clever, or just none of them are ever like bad. Like there's some that are just kind of like meh or whatever. But yeah, like and leading into that, seems, going from a rumor at least, not confirmed, that the whole Chaos Reigns DLC may have not really performed very well to Warner Brothers expectations, and that has possibly led to there being no Kombat Pack 3, and that those plans have been canceled, which is really, if this turns out to be true, is really like hard to hear. Like, yeah, we've already talked about on this very show, and lots of people talk other places that people are just not into Mortal Kombat 1. They've either dropped it or never picked it up to begin with, because they're either not a fan of the cameo system, or they're not a fan of the rebooted storylines and all the looks for the characters. But Ed was always very, very proactive in saying, we're just going to support the shit out of this game. There's going to be more story stuff. There's going to be more characters, saying that we're in here for the long haul. But of course, he doesn't have all the power, obviously. It's the publisher, so WB Games. And even then, a few weeks before this, WB put out a statement saying, we're going to be focusing on 4 core franchises, like Batman, Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, and Fourth Thing. I don't remember what Fourth Thing was.
Yeah.
So if this turns out to be true, and it's like, yeah, even if it didn't sell that great, it's like, it's still Mortal Kombat. Like, you're still going to get some people still playing, like a certain percentage is still going to keep chugging along and at least buying the characters. So I feel like this seems like maybe rumblings were happening about this, but I'd be really shocked if they just come out and announce in like 6 months, like, oh yeah, that's all canceled and we're just moving on. Like that would to me look worse than just continuing on, especially when you're Warner Brothers and you have money to burn, you know?
It would be surprising. I like it's still a rumor and everything, but like what's not a rumor is that they announced that they're doing another season competition for Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay.
So it just seems like if they're gonna put more money into the community for the competitive side, like I would be surprised that they would just not launch like future DLC for future characters or future content. You know?
Yeah, the only thing about that is that's like more of an immediate, like short-term thing versus another combat pack is still like would theoretically still be way off. So even the rumor stated like here's like character lit, like here's canceled characters. It's like I really when you start throwing character names around, I start
Yeah.
not believing
Yeah.
it. Like I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like over the years, like since Mortal Kombat like 10 was being tested where I live in Montreal, and I'd always run into some random guy in the subway that I kind of knew and was working on it and would just say what DLC characters are coming. And you'd be like, oh yeah, Terminator's in it, which was
Yeah,
untrue.
you got the leaks. You got the leaks from the train station.
Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah. Those are the nastiest of leaks. But like, I heard that Ninja Turtles were in the mix at some point for like an Injustice game, but it took like a long time for that to happen. And when that actually happened, I was like, oh, that's sick that they're there. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember like 2 years ago, someone told me that that might happen. So
On the train.
on the train,
That's crazy.
yeah, subway rumors. But yeah, like again, I think it looks really bad. Like, even if they're planning to do another fighting game, an Injustice 3 or a brand new thing, it just sets the precedent that WB, well, don't bother with a WB game if you want long-term support. And that was
Yeah.
kind of the thing with Mortal Kombat 11 to a point. Like it kind of ended a little bit when people were like, maybe not coming around to it more, but it didn't seem to have this big drop off that MK1 is going under. But what do you guys feel if it? Well, Lane, I think Justin already said, but Lane, what do you feel if they just 6 months they go, oh yeah, it's done?
I mean, I don't even think in 6 months they would say it's done. I think they just, I just don't think there will be like any news if like that's the case, which like sucks. But I mean, yeah, like I know, especially on like the more competitive side of the FGC, like NRS games are usually like kind of like a punching bag.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I like Mortal Kombat. I like Ed Boon.
I like
I
that a
want
lot.
these.
He's such a big sweetie in real life.
I want these games to succeed. I want more fighting games to be good. But yeah, like on the competitive side, I've never seen Mortal Kombat 1 at my locals, like literally ever. Since it first came out, I've never seen someone bring a setup. And where I'm from, like we had like, in Mortal Kombat 10 days, I know that's almost 10 years ago, but like, we had a very big and active, very strong scene, but I haven't seen the game once, like brought to like a local, and even like casually, I have a friend who, he doesn't play fighting games. He buys every Mortal Kombat. This is the first one he hasn't bought since 9.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
I just think that, yeah, there's a sentiment for like both sides that like this is a game I'll maybe catch on sale, or it's not worth investing.
I think the last ditch thing that they have to do is make conquest mode again. Just make Deception's conquest mode. Just put it in the game. It's like, yeah, that doesn't help the competitive scene whatsoever. But I bet you that would like get way more people buying it than just the story expansion and Sector and Cyrax. I think in another timeline, or like not even timeline, but like a year or two ago, if you were to say, oh, Mortal Kombat's doing really poorly, people don't like what's going on, you would say, oh, just reboot it. That's a problem because they've done it like twice already. You can't just say like, oh, let's just Mortal Kombat. I don't even know what you would call it. I don't know what you would do. The only thing I can think of right now is like abandon this gameplay style altogether. Go back, be a 3D game again. Try that out. See if that works, because I don't know what else you can do with the X-rays and the, how the game plays now, or how it's kind of molded itself or evolved over the last couple of years. Like, and I don't even hate the game really. It's like I don't play it. I didn't play it nearly as much as Justin did, and Justin doesn't play nearly as much as Max does. So like I played it the least, but I still liked it, and I kind of liked a lot of the characters. Like, oh, Reptile's super cool and this and that, and but there's a whole other section of it where I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like the. I hate all the costumes and how you can't get some of them anymore, and I hate all that shit like a lot. And
Yeah.
the last couple of the last couple of Mortal Kombat games have always had stuff like that. The grinding in MK11 and even in MK10, there was some grinding. And I don't even know what the solution is anymore, because like a reboot, you can't even just say that, because I don't know. They kind of painted themselves in a corner at the end of the day.
It's hard not to like think about Mortal Kombat and just like, think like, like Warner Brothers. Like they're like ruining everything. But, like I said, like the last time I saw like MK1 in like the news, like people discussing the game like outside of the FGC, was probably when they introduced like those holiday fatalities that cost like $10.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
good
one,
point.
right?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I can't imagine a casual being like, what? Like that's like horse armor DLC. That's like on the same level of that,
Yeah.
where it just feels greedy, and the game launched with like half the options as the last one. So
Exactly. So, like for example, I have someone in my extended family that like loved MK9, loved MK10, bought 11 launch day, and then I want to say in October, like the month after MK1 came out, I was like, "Oh, did you get Mortal Kombat 1?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, no, it's just a tag team fighter," which is of course incorrect. But to a person that just like looks at a trailer, right, and that's it, they oh no, I'm not into that at all. Like I'm not interested, and he just never bought it, and he like platinumed the other ones, and
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, that's a problem. Like we're on a fighting game podcast, we'll either play it or buy it in some form or another. But like for someone very casually that like played all the other games and just says that straight out, just by a trailer, like, no, I'm not into it. I'm like, okay.
which sucks because like, I mean, I think I like assist games. I like the idea of it. So I don't want like someone to walk away with like, oh, like Mortal Kombat shouldn't try something new.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it is like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this release just had way too many things going against it.
That's why you have to go 3D and just put in conquest mode. That's it.
It would be kind of
Answer.
cool at this point, do something.
I think the realistic answer is like give Mortal Kombat a big ass break. Like, yeah, do another Injustice, or another fighting game, whatever, brand new one. I don't know, and just give it a long break and really think it over, because yeah, I think the problem requires a lot of time to solve at this
Yeah.
point.
It's just frustrating because it's like, it's a series that prints money. There should be no reason why
Exactly.
we should be like, hurting the developers, rushing these games. Like, it's going to sell. Mortal Kombat's gonna sell. You don't have to convince people to buy Mortal Kombat. Well, I guess you do now, but
Yeah, I guess you do. But like it's not like it was on a down, like a trend. Mortal Kombat 11,
Yeah.
I always forget, is the highest selling one. Despite everyone, having some issues with this or that, the gameplay style, etc., or the grinding, but it still sold the most. And like like a reboot after that kind of made sense, sort of like 3 games, a trilogy, and then do that. But it's just like I think maybe in another Injustice game in between would have maybe fit the bill better. But we'll see. We'll see if this develops and they actually make that official. Just saying, they don't talk about a Combat Pack 3 anymore. Speaking of assist games, we did miss this, I think, the last time we had an episode, but Jinx was revealed for 2 XKO. And if you asked me about this a few weeks ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's that girl. Who cares? That's the girl that people have been cosplaying since 2014. When I go to conventions, I'm like, I have no fucking clue who this is. And that's how I
Yeah.
knew you're old. And I'm like, fuck. It's true. Then I watched Arcane. I watched both seasons of Arcane, and now I'm super hyped. I'm like, yeah, now I want Vi in there. I want, like, never gonna play League of Legends, but at least now I'm a bit more interested in 2XKO because it's like, oh, it's character I recognize. So
They could have just make the name Arcane as the fighting game title.
probably, yeah. Why not? Arcane tournament fighter, but or at least call this 2XKO League of Legends, because Arcane is technically called Arcane League of Legends underneath it. But yeah, animation is crazy good. There's a video of the one of the animators just talking about all the work they put into her, and like, yeah, it looks exactly like she is one of the most popular characters in the entire franchise, one of the most popular champions, sorry. So it seemed like a lock she'd be, but I was always kind of mystified that she was never shown in the launch lineup. I was like, oh yeah, launch for sure.
No, they showed her like in the beginning, but then they kind of like kept it away after.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, Jinx was one of the initial characters revealed when it was still called Project L. But then they never show anything past
that. Okay.
So this is like they finally like showed gameplay of her, a trailer, and she looks really good. Like this is the kind of the thing that I was like waiting for 2XKO, because I felt like after playing the beta, and I'm just like, man, every character just feels the same. They just hit. They just want to just move forward, hit you, do a combo, rinse and repeat. There's no like different archetype of characters, and it seems like Jinx is like that first character that's going to provide that. She has the essence of like I would say Marvel 2 Cable. When I see some of her movesets, so I'm really excited for that. And I know that a lot of people that went to the Arcane premiere were able to play her as well too. They couldn't record footage, so it's kind of more of like videos of like what their thought process is, or what they think the character is, or Soka. I know Sajam and Diaphone were two people that I saw that went to the premiere and played Jinx a lot. Not sure if like Max did, because I would assume the Arcane premiere is in LA, and I'm not sure if he's like into Arcane or anything like that. But yeah,
we'll make him watch it. We'll make him watch it.
I haven't watched Arcane yet either. I'm on episode 2 in season 1.
Okay, so you have a lot to go. But yeah, there's definitely a couple characters that I think there's even one that's introduced in Arcane. It's not actually in the game, or they just added her into the game. So like the show informed to put a character into League. So it'd be interesting if they show up in 2XKO. But yeah, we always theorize this. This is gonna be a small ass starting roster, yeah.
At this point,
16?
if you would have told me like a year or two ago, I'd be like, nah, no way. But like at this point, with the next play test, I think is in spring of next year. Like I'm thinking, like, then when is this release date? So I feel like it is going to be a very small roster.
12 to 16 characters, you think?
That sounds about right.
I mean, how many are there now?
It's like maybe like 8.
I think like is 6 to 8.
If it launched with like a Skullgirls 12 or something, I think Skullgirls had like 12 when it launched.
Well, 12 is like unforgivable.
Yeah,
unforgivable.
But it's just like, man, maybe they are just saving a bunch, which I mean, I guess they should.
Okay. 12 is fine if it's not a full price release, but like,
it's gonna be free, right?
Wait, is it gonna be free?
I mean, everything.
Yeah, they said it's free to play.
Okay.
Yeah, everything they do is free.
Justin, Marvel Rivals this week. It's gonna be free.
I'm excited.
Oh my god.
You saw Iron Fist. Iron Fist looks crazy.
Dude, Squirrel Girl. Anyway, so Cloak and Dagger is actually the big one. Anyway, so yeah, looking good there. But like I said, like it seems like it's gonna be forever until there's a new character shown. So I'm thinking at the very least, like late 2025, if you want to have a
I would assume at least like Evo, they'll announce like something big at Evo.
I would imagine that it would have to be Evo ready by 2025, right?
Yeah.
They didn't show much at this Evo Pass though, right? Wasn't it like one of the few things?
No, they just had a booth and you play, and then if you play at the booth, you're automatically in the Alpha Lab test.
Okay. Yeah. So the other interesting thing is just because going into character reveals, and this is more speculation now, but since Steam has changed their DLC rules in that developers are now required, or publishers, I should say, are more required to actually list everything that a season pass or like upcoming DLC will have. And if any of that gets canceled for any reason, Steam users would be able to like get that money back, like
That was
specifically.
cool.
So the overriding theme here is that will this mean that you're no longer you can tease your fighting game characters?
If that's the case, obviously this is a super pro consumer move. I'm not gonna,
The most
get,
pro.
yeah, I'm not gonna get mad at that. But I mean, it does like, even though 90% of the time a fighting game DLC like has like a silhouette DLC, I feel like it gets leaked, especially if you're Capcom.
Mhm.
I still like the mystifying, like, oh, who could it be? But I
Yeah.
mean, overall, it's a good thing. Like, I'm not gonna complain, about knowing what
Yeah.
we're all suckers here. We're probably, when a season pass for a fighting game comes out, it's a non-negotiable. That's just an extra $20 I'm gonna spend no matter what.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
It is.
so for us, it's like, or at least for me, it's like, I could live with that I could live with that mystery, because like I'm already gonna buy it. I'm a sucker, but for everyone else, for all, yeah, it's a pro move, of course.
For devs and publishers, right? Let's say Namco, and they're just like, we want Craig fans to think we're working on Craig Marduk, but we're not. So if we just have silhouettes or just a color and a month, they might buy the season pass. But if we say right out the gate, oh no, there's no Craig Marduk, then people will that small percentage of people will be, oh, I'm not gonna buy the season pass then. So I think that's the general, like that's the whole reason why, like, like silhouettes don't get used all that much, except for like maybe I guess SNK for KOF back in the day. I think when Max wrote about this, he showed those silhouettes back in KI season. But by the way, KI reference there for everyone counting at home. KI 2013, when they did it at season 3, they showed silhouettes of every character, and a lot of them were new characters, so it was be like, what the fuck, I don't even know what I'm looking at, but like one or two were like, well, that's Riptor, that's Cinder, that's okay, that's cool. So you get a little bit of that, but you don't get to see what they actually look like. I think that's a good way to handle it. It's like,
Yeah.
here's a silhouette that could be Sean or that could be Goken. Like, it looks like a Shoto, but you're not actually showing what the character looks like. So at least that's kind of interesting. And it still has that like mystique to it, like Leighton was saying, but I don't see this passing in a way where publishers have to actually say what their characters are going to be for a fighting game or any other game really that has like any kind of spoilery DLC. Like, I don't see that happening, but that's what
Yeah.
everyone's assuming is, might actually go down.
I'm wondering that, because obviously our reference is fighting games. I'm wondering, is this like a really bad tactic that's used in like other genres that I just don't know about? Or like, maybe developers lie with like silhouette, like, hiding stuff in silhouettes or something. I don't know. Because like if I just think about in fighting games, I don't think it's, necessarily bad. But yeah,
I mean, we never had that. We never had that issue before. We're
Yeah.
just like, oh, I feel like we like to. I feel like the community likes to guess.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
like, oh, like this is this character. Oh, that's that character, right? So I don't know. I can't really. I don't know what other genres like silhouette looks like.
Yeah, it's
when
like
it when it
who's
comes down to
getting
it.
who's getting taken advantage of in like gotcha
Yeah,
games,
right?
I
like,
think it's those encompassing season passes that just don't give you a lot of information at all. Like they'll give you like, they'll say like extra story campaign and more, and then the and
Oh,
more
and
winds
more.
up being shitty or almost nothing. I think there has to be a few examples of that, of like other like action adventure games, single player games, or like games as a service things. Like for like Suicide Squad, they don't tell you all the characters that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And if they did, like people would be like, well, I'm not buying it. I don't care about that character or that character. And that's like, you're kind of obfuscating the, your plan going forward. I remember a marketing guy when I used to work at IDOS, would say like everything can like if one thing in marketing gets screwed up, like something gets revealed or leaked, it's like months of wasted work. Like months and months. And it's like one of the most protected things. And it's funny because it's also one of the most leaked things ever. Like poor Capcom. We had to have so many fucking episodes of TKO where we didn't talk about that one image of every single fucking character. Because we're like, what are we supposed to do here, really? It's so flagrant, it's so out there, but at the same time, it's like, it's not fun when things get leaked, honestly. Like for most of it, whenever there's a big show and something gets leaked and you watch, you're like, oh yeah, it's the thing that got leaked. Like I'm excited for it or I'm not, but
I think the worst leak ever, I guess besides Street Fighter 6, because that did happen like months and months and months, was Ultimate Marvel 3. I remember the day that it got announced, all the DLC or all the new characters got leaked and stuff too. And I remember like
remember that.
just being young and being like loading up event hubs and being like, damn, Phoenix right, huh? Like,
Damn, Phoenix right, huh?
like it's cool, but it's like, how sick would this have been,
If they made their own trailer, right?
Yeah.
That would have been pretty cool.
I mean,
You're right.
that's why fake lists go out to confuse people, right? Or that's an added effect of like if anyone starts making a bunch of fake, like Smash was really bad. Smash when Smash is like still coming out and like there's so many fake leak lists, you can't believe anything, right?
I mean, I've seen like conspiracy theories and like, oh look, this color is in this background. This color represents this character, for like Smash, so they go harder than like anyone else.
And it's funny because when a game is like over or done or canceled or whatever it may be, and then you find out like what they were working on, like, and my go-to for that is like PlayStation All-Stars. Like they had like 6 or 7 other DLC characters, and a lot of them were gonna be sick as fuck. And I'm like, oh, geez, really? Like, even though I didn't like that game that much, it's like I still would have loved for those characters to come out. So yeah, it's like this love-hate relationship with leaks. Like they can be exciting, but it does kind of suck. And then it throws the marketing campaign off, and they have to pivot. Capcom at least rolls with it when something has leaked. They just kind of go, well, here's the thing anyway. Here's the trailer like a few days early. It's the best you can do. But yeah, we'll see if this new practice that Steam, because it's like you don't have to do it for consoles. It's just a Steam thing. Right?
Yeah.
So then why? So Steam people that use Steam a lot gets it leaked for them. Gets to see all the characters, but the console versions don't. Like it's very wishy-washy. So we'll see what transpires there. And finally, last and most important story of the week is that the Please Wrap It Up Awards, hosted by Jeff Keighley, have posted their 5 best fighting games of the year. And that is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. Someone please need to explain this to me. Didn't this come out in 2023?
Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising?
Yeah. Or was it like January?
No. Yeah, it came in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw several people say...
It came super, super early, I believe, in 2024.
Okay.
I want to say, it was like January or February.
Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Game Collection, Arcade Classics. I couldn't believe Max is not here, but I'll say what he said. He's like, I love this game. It's so amazing it exists. It should absolutely not be nominated. It is an old collection of games.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And do you agree? Because I agree.
Nah, let me rock.
Yeah?
I can't say no to it. I'm down for it to be on the list.
A remake, absolutely.
I'd rather this be on this list than Multiverses.
Yes,
sure,
absolutely.
Sure, that I also agree with there, because Multiverses was already nominated and I won.
It won last year for being a beta.
And Street Fighter 6. It didn't win over Street Fighter 6. That's not...
No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Right. Okay.
It went over KOF.
It went over KOF. Okay.
That was when they had what's that? Was Sifu last year, or was this?
Oh, that should have won.
Was that the Sifu? Was that the Sifu year?
That was the
I think
Sifu year.
Multiverses.
Yeah,
I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Sifu robbed anyway. So Multiverses after that, and then Tekken 8. Like
the bad part about this is that they just forgot about Under Night. They're just like, you know what?
I mean,
Under Night is not a fighting game.
So here's still the problem with the Game Awards is that they cut off the nominations, like, with almost a month and a half left in the fucking year, which is still insane to me. I don't understand. Like, every other award show does it, near the start of a new year, and then you count everything. I still don't really get it. But, you could even throw, hey, fucking Double Dragon Neo came out. Sorry, Rage of the Dragons.
Oh, Rage of the
Neo came
Dragons
out. Like,
Neo.
if I was running this shit, I'd put that over Multiverses. I'm not even saying that because I hate Multiverses, just because it already won. Like, how do you win again?
Or like, if we want to keep a platform fighter, you could put Rivals of Aether 2.
Rivals of Aether 2. That's the great choice. Thank you. So it's
Who cares, man? That's
no.
Right.
These are the official Game Awards, Leighton.
These are the official Game Awards. These people care about these awards a lot.
Why?
I had someone from Capcom was like, "Yo, you hear? We got nominated for Marvel's Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics for Best Fighting Game of the Year." Like, they had to message me and tell me that before I found out. So they feel that this is very important to them because you get the nice little trophy, put it in the office and everything. You could
but
glaze all over it, whatever you want.
Joking aside, it's like when 90 million people are watching your show, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's just like, hey, get your game's name out. If it wins an award, there's gonna be a certain percentage of that 90 million that's just like, oh, I should buy Multiverses if that wins. Or
I think the worst part about that is when they do these award shows. I remember last year when Street Fighter 6 won, they didn't even get like its own segment.
Yeah,
it was one of those side things where like, oh yeah, let's list the next nominees who's gonna win these rewards, and like Street Fighter 6, and then that was it. Literally,
Justin,
it was like 3 seconds, and
that would have
GGs.
taken away from the third Muppets comedy segment. That's
Right.
very
The
important.
Muppets.
Gotta have
I forgot.
gotta have all three, right? And
I forgot
musical
about that.
and the musical performances. Don't forget them. They're the heart and soul of the Game Awards. Anyway, between the five, who are we actually feeling? If you had to give a guess,
I mean, I personally want.
which one do you personally want, Justin Wong?
I personally want Grand Blue to win.
Okay. Love
Because I
that.
feel like the game is really good. It's really awesome. They put a lot of effort and care into like this version of the game. I just don't think it's gonna win. Sadly, I really don't think it's gonna win. But I would love it for it to win. I think either Tekken 8 or Dragon Ball is gonna win.
Yeah, I don't see a where Multiverses wins again.
No,
it would be funny.
It would be not
I hear, like, a lot of-
funny, but
I don't think like the game is getting like positive reception anyway. So I don't even
No.
think it can win
Not at all.
yeah.
unless like the common person just randomly voting, because you when you're voting. You're just like voting everything, right? And they say, "Oh shit, Powerpuff Girls." Yeah. Even though I never played it before. Yeah.
I think I saw that like only like 10 or 20% of like audience voting like is like counted. They have like a group of people.
Oh,
that,
do
like-
they?
I thought there was a separate award for like audience voting, or does audience actually get to chime in on the other awards as well, and it's just a small percentage?
I saw a random tweet. Could be
Okay,
wrong. Don't
okay.
crucify me, Jeff Keighley. But
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd say that sounds about right. That seems kind of fairish, I guess. But like, it's just a bunch of random people throughout the industry, like game developers, marketers, etc., and influencers too, I guess. But yeah, like if I was to say like off the bat, I would be like, yeah, no, maybe Tekken 8. But then I really think about how Tekken 8 has gone the last couple of months, and I'm like, I'd probably go with Grand Blue as well. honestly. It's had no real major issues, gets steady flow of characters. Like, I don't play it. I bought it and I messed around with it, but I don't play it. But of these, that seems like the most solid choice, because as great as the collection of the Marvel versus Fighting collection, if it was a remake, like a full remake of just one of the games or all of them or whatever, at least if there's something more new about it, I'm like, yeah, that's 2024. I get that. But because it's just a collection, I'm just like, I just feel it's like, yeah, that's not, I don't know, that's not representative of 2024.
I think it sets like a bad precedent. It's like, them arguably changing the rules to include, the Elden Ring DLC for Game of the
Yeah.
Year. I think it just sets like a bad precedent of like what should be awarded. But I mean, yeah, we're also looking at a best fighting game list with Multiverses and Sparking Zero. So it's like, but I mean, if I were to have to say anything, I would want Under Night should have been that would have been my pick. I'm a non-SA main. I love Under Night.
Yeah.
But out of these, I would definitely have to say Grand Blue, just because yeah, with like what you guys said, I think it's a solid product, and not just like a solid fighting game. I do think it's a solid fighting game, and also casually and competitively, I feel like the community is happy with the game.
Yeah, they are.
Especially past like Nier getting nerfed and stuff. I feel like, yeah, like out of all anime games. Okay, I don't want to make this thing. I was gonna say maybe they complain the less, but I don't know. I don't want to.
I mean, I think they did a great job. They got a little, a free to play version where you could get play the free characters online.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such a great way of just like introducing people to a game that maybe a lot of people probably have never heard of the franchise before, right? I think they did a really good job, and I would definitely give it fighting. If this was the FGC version of best fighting game of the year, I think they would have won fighting game of the year.
I think it's so cute with their rotating free roster that
that's cool.
That they include like characters that have won like big events. It's just an issue when like you have like an over centralized character and they keep showing up every week because they keep winning. But I think it's a really cute idea. I like it a lot.
I mean,
and they got a Fall Guys mode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. If I could like insert a game in there myself, technically Killer Instinct 10th anniversary came out in 2024. I'm just saying.
I mean, hey, Marvel's here, so like
Marvel's here.
It wouldn't be fair to exclude Killer Instinct.
I love the idea that a release that has a beat 'em up on it is potential fighting game of the year. That's also kind of special to me. I love that. Anyway, I think
Tekken. I was just gonna say I think Tekken's gonna win.
Yeah. The Tekken's gonna win.
It's either Tekken or Dragon Ball. Right? That's what I think. Tekken or Dragon Ball.
In my head, there's no way Dragon Ball can win.
What do you mean? It's so popular. Everyone loves Dragon Ball.
But the fact that it's there on the list, you're probably right. Like it is probably gonna win. But...
Like this just it might win because of just. Everyone knows what Dragon Ball is. Celebrities love Dragon Ball more than any of these other games.
Yeah, but Tekken's no, spring chicken. Like, Tekken's been around enough that, like, people just know the name, right?
Bro, it's Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta's they're at Macy's every year at Thanksgiving. You understand that?
That's true.
Thanksgiving parade, you see a Goku blimp, no matter what. That's crazy.
Imagine there's like a Kuma blimp or like Heihachi blimp.
That'd be cool.
Heihachi in his like, traditional Japanese underwear.
Yeah, and the diaper. Yeah, that'd be great.
The diaper.
Mr. Gal Winquote, where can people find you on the internet?
At Guile Winquote on YouTube.
Nice. Any videos coming up? I really enjoyed the two worst Street Fighter games. You said were Super Turbo and Hyper Fighting, I believe. Yeah.
No, yeah, Super Turbo and Third Strike, of course. No. But it's funny. So I said New Generation and New Challengers were the worst fighting games and the worst Street Fighters. And it's funny you say Super Turbo because I've gotten so many comments, obviously from people who aren't competitive fighting game players saying, I hate Super Turbo. It's too fast for me. The CPU is impossible. New Challenges is my favorite. What are you talking about? You are wrong. Crazy. So I've gotten like probably hundreds of comments saying that.
Wow.
But-
Really? Wow.
You know, it's
I'm one of those hyper fighting guys that you mentioned in the video.
yeah, the purists.
But-
Yeah.
But that's
I'm one of
very
those
easy to
guys.
explain because, like, so many people could not even access Super Turbo for years and years and years, right? They could only play new challengers on their Genesis or their SNES. So that's directly where that comes from. And like, I get it. Like, that's the version you were playing a bunch with your brother in the summer. So I get it from that standpoint. But yeah, like that doesn't surprise me. I'll get stuff like that on a random video too, where it's like, well, this is the one I had access to, so it's my favorite one. I'm like, that's valid. For
it's
you.
hard not to, I don't have to want to be direct and be like, this is a fighting game player's,
Right.
vision of it. But, yeah, hopefully I open some eyes to be like, maybe I should learn how to do a super. I don't know.
And please, more Guile Lose quote videos in the future. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. But besides that, I'm working on King of Fighters 11. So and I'm working on that in hopes that I can keep the streak up, and as soon as I post it, SNK is like, well, guess what? We got it in our
There
back
you
pocket.
go. Bloody Roar next.
Game's too hard. I gotta learn it first.
All right, that's it for this week. See you, everybody.
Bye.